So here we go. We have the motor. It sure is. Bafang 1000 watt. All the several parts. Chain ring in there. LCD. Cranks. Couple of brakes. Now, just got to get it all fitted on. So here it is, the main part, the motor. It's not as big as I thought. I thought she was going to be a lot bigger because I've only ever had the biggest I've put in is a 750, and obviously this is slightly different measurements, but it actually fits quite snug. You get your cranks, got all my wire in, my bolts, electrics, throttle there, the brakes, and 850C LCD in here. But yeah, it don't look bad. On to fitting. So here's the motor in its place, and if you look, the chain line is not that bad. It's pretty good. I do intend trying for a 36 down on here at some point. I'll buy the Bling Ring kit, that new kit where you can take this off and it makes it all a little bit thinner again. But obviously, looking at it, if I bring it in too far, the chain rings are going to still hit this. So like if I put a 40 odd ring on there now with a 20mm indent, it's going to be here, which means you've got to stand the motor out, and I don't want to do that. So basically I think I'm going to go for this line. I was contemplating, I seen on someone else's that they had actually used a file and filed part of this off at this point here to get that in closer, but I would lose this piece of access, which I'm hoping the ring is going to run through there. That's what I'm hoping, if you can see what I mean there, like. But yeah, other than that, it's all good. There is a couple of mil gap just on the inside. I don't think you can see it very well with this camera, but just on the inside there's a couple of mil gap, because this is now touching the frame and that's not quite. But if you keep your ring that you took out of your original press fit that was in the bike when you bought it, you can use that same ring to put inside here, which should stand it out just that little tiny little bit, just enough so you can bolt it all up tight. But yeah, so quite happy with that. All the wire in, I'll run it down under here, through here, and I'm going to put it in the frame, and I'll have it coming out there, and that's the same as what I did with the Norco, but it just looks more tidy, because once the bike's built, it's built, you know. Okay, this is the ring I've decided to go with. It's just one I had banging around in my shed, and it'll fit on there nice, as you can see. I have got loads of these aluminium ones, but I thought at the end of the day, and a piece of aluminium and act like a crush washer, and I didn't want that, and that one is steel, so I thought I'd use that one. And just a heads up, your gear cable actually fits along here really nice, so you won't need to touch that at all. But push that down in nice and tight, and push it that way, because at the end of the day you can cut off your access cable at the back end and tidy it all up a bit like. Now, over on this side, this is your main bolt, and I've done it all up solidly tight. There's not enough room to fit this one on. It's only a lock nut anyway, so my plan is, when I'm ready to bolt down solid, is to use a load of Loctite in there, and it should be all good. Hopefully. I've never tried it before, so I'll find something out myself. But yeah, the wiring, I'll drop that down under here. But as you can see, I've got a really nice chain line right there. And if you look down through there, you'll see I've got a little bit of a gap. Just enough. So nothing's actually touching. The gear cable fits underneath nice. Also, all the wiring fits underneath nice as well. And basically the wiring is going to go in at that point there. So what I will do is I will remove these stickers here, and I'll place them further back. As you can see, I've made myself a little torque bar here. A lot of people tend to spend a lot of money building some sort of massive thing up the side. You really don't need it, because when the motor's torqued, it pushes itself into the frame, into this way. So all I do is I put a bolt in there, and I will bolt that part to the frame, just so when you slacken off, it will come off. But other than that, you really do not need to go out and buy a massive stabilizer that goes all the way down here, or all the way down through this side or that side. It won't make a bit of difference. Just a little one, because all it's got to do is hold the motor up. It does nothing else. Once the motor is powered, it pushes against the frame at this end. I know that in the past when I've had one come loose before now, it did exactly the same when it was doing a creaking noise. So all I fit now is a small little stabilizer just to hold them in place if it does come loose. That's it. Other than that, you really don't need it. So that's my way of doing it anyway. Another little tip is get a heat gun and remove your frame numbers. I put all mine back to here, out the way. But if anybody nicked the bike, obviously they're going to get rid of them. So your stamp number is the important number on this frame. Not so much that when you reg up your bike for free on the police anti-theft website, make sure you get the number that's printed in the frame is the best one. But yeah, so looking good so far. Okay, so on further investigation on it all, I decided I will put the lock nut on. So I cut about 5 mil, 3 maybe 4 mil off of there. I've got it here. As you can see, I cut it off so I can actually get the lock washer on now, which will make it better really. And also I know I can always put it back to a normal bike if need be, and just put some spacers on, which I've got loads of anyway, and it'll do the job nicely. And it all fits in lovely. I've got this here is going to have another nut put in it. That's going to be to hold the Bafang up there. This is the wire I've just done the drill holes, so I can actually put all the wire in inside the frame, and it'll all come out there. And basically when it's done, it'll look like this one off my Norco. But yeah, it's coming on. Yeah, I think that's all I can say about that bit. So there you go. I manipulated the cable in from the bottom end here up inwards, using just a piece of metal tape over the top. The reason I tape over the top is purely, you could leave the cap on if you want to drill the hole bigger, but because I want the hole smaller, or as small as I possibly can go, so that's why I put tape over. But that's the only reason. I used a piece of wire, put it in there, hooked it out here, then I pushed this end in, hooked it on that part, and then had a bit of a mess about manipulation at this point here. But yeah, so the cable's all in now. Now what I do, this is totally up to you. You can leave all four out. What I'll do is I'll get rid of one of the brake cut-offs. I'll push it inside out the way because I won't need it. I'll seal it up nice and watertight first, and then I'll leave just the 3 cable out, main power, the throttle and a brake cable, because if you ever need to add a secondary one, you can always put a Y splitter on there, which saves all the mess really. And then you've got 3 wires and they'll run out like that, like I said, exactly like I've done on that one there. That's how they go. And I'll seal this up so no water, no crap, nothing gets in there. So here she is. She's all in now, all settled up, lovely. The speed sensor down in there now. I've done my cable, gear cable that is, because that's inside the frame as well. Sorted out the battery. Just waiting for the chain ring to turn up, because I don't really want to use that metal steel thing. It's a bit ugly. Yeah, I think that's it for now. Got my sensor up here for the gears. I'm using the 500C. I prefer that one. So I took that off of my actual Bigfoot, and I put the one what came with the machine, with the motor, sorry, up on there. Yeah, I think I'll end this as a part 3. And start recording again when I get the parts turned up. Anyway, stay safe out there and get out and ride.